Recently on The View, Raven-Symoné made some questionable statements about black-sounding names and whether or not she would discriminate against someone applying for a job with a black-sounding name. Take a look.
A new study in the journal Evolution and Human Behavior says Americans make racist assumptions based on people's names. Now, this, of course, made us think about the viral video that listed the 60 most ghetto names. And here are their top 10. My boys.
United States of America Liqua, Alejandra, King Kong Quisha, Fried Chicken Nisha, Collard Green Equa, Grape Drank Isha, Africanisha Niqua, Kashida, the Tanyana Bovine Nostria Niqua Niqualis. Court.
Just to bring it back, can we take back racist and say discriminatory? Because I think that's a better word.
Yes, it is a much better word.
That's a better word, and I am very discriminatory against words like the ones that they were saying in those names. I'm not about to hire you if your name is Watermelon Drea. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to hire you.
Well, that's not their fault.
I would be such a beautiful King Kong Quisha, by the way. I'm letting you guys know.
Okay, so people were not too pleased with what she had to say there. I find her statement so interesting because if she weren't famous and she was out there looking for a job, she might not be discriminated because of her name, but she would certainly be discriminated against for her skin color, the way her hair is. Like, she gets away with a lot, right? Because she's already famous. But think about people who would look exactly like you, not have the same fame as you, and what they'd have to go through if they were looking for a job.
I thought that hairdo's name was Watermelon Deandra, or whatever she said she wouldn't hire, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you walk in there, if you didn't work in media, you walk in there, if you're looking like that, people might discriminate against you. And by the way, they'd be wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, now look, I want to be clear about this. And I think we're going to have an interesting conversation here. I get it, right? So some of the names sound ridiculous. So it's not like we don't get that they sound ridiculous. We're not trying to be PC police or whatever people call it, right? But remember, people didn't pick their names, right? So if you're going to get mad at their parents, okay, like for example, my son's name, some people say is ridiculous. Prometheus Maximus Uygur, right? You can get mad at him. Poor kid didn't do anything. I picked the name, right? So you want to make sure I don't get a job. Fair enough. Hey, but it's not on him, right? So that's why her statement is absurd anyway.
Right, and also keep in mind that people aren't overtly racist in the country, right? And a lot of people who are racist don't realize that they're racist. There are subconscious things happening that make them discriminate against certain people based on stupid things. So if someone is telling you what the evidence is and what the data is, and they say, look, people are subconsciously racist or discriminatory against those because of these names, and you know it, and you're still willing to discriminate against people because of their names, well, then you're just a terrible person. Right? And Raven-Symoné has said lots of questionable things in the past about the black community. I don't know what's going through her mind. I don't know if she wants to be the heel of the show or if she's doing this for attention, but this isn't the right way to go about it.
And sometimes there's a little of like, I'm not with them mentality, right? It's funny, the two African Americans on the show that are kind of making fun of the situation are named Raven and Whoopi. So I don't know that they got a leg to stand on in terms of making fun of people's names. But look, the part that actually bothers me the most is not like people like Key and Peele have been doing this forever, making fun of black names, right? That's not out of bounds, right? The part that bothers me is pretending that people discriminate because African Americans have crazy names. No, there's been study after study. We covered a study from many years ago. It's not like it's a new thing. It was like 7 years ago they did the study. They give people black-sounding names, not LaQuisha, but, you know, a Tyrone as opposed to an Austin, right? And the white-sounding names have a 50% chance, 50% higher chance of getting a callback for an interview. 50% is colossal. It's not around the edges. It's not 2%. It's not 5%. They have a significantly higher chance of getting a job, right? And so this is a real issue for black people in this country. And when you turn it into a joke, the joking part's fine as long as then you make it serious and you go, wait a minute, now this is a real issue. But they didn't do that.
No.
You know? I mean, it's they just treat it like, oh, black people, if you're going to name your kids like Quisha, of course you're not going to get a job. And the two black people on the panel are like, yeah, totally.
So Raven's father actually spoke out about this, and he did not take her side, although he did so in the most polite way possible. He says, Raven is a really beautiful, sweethearted human being. I should know Her mother and I love her very much and will always support her and have her back, even if sometimes she says some dumb shit.
I thought you said he was polite.
Well, I mean,
doesn't sound that polite.
I mean, he called her a beautiful, kind-hearted, sweet human being. I mean, she said dumb shit, and the father's calling her out on that. There has been much talk today about my daughter's comments on her show, The View. People have been hitting me up all night, questioning me about her remarks. This woman is grown, has her own management team, has her own opinions, right or wrong, and is responsible for her own words and actions. So he's basically saying, get off my dick over this issue, okay? Because people have been really, really hard on him over this. But Raven-Symoné issued a non-apology. I want to give you guys her side of the story as well. She says, I'd like to begin by saying that I was not attacking a specific race, but repeating a name that was said in a viral video, which has received over 2 million likes. I have been denied many jobs because of my skin color, body size, and age. Each time I was rejected, my self-esteem was negatively affected, so I empathize with those who feel victimized by what I said. As an equal opportunity employer, really? You're an equal opportunity? Who do you employ? But anyway, I have never discriminated against a name, even though I said I would. It's not true. My comment was in poor taste. My lack of empathy toward name discrimination was uncalled for.
All right. Okay. You know, look, I think she's very rich. I think she might have her own company.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know much about it. It's fine. You know, look, but that's why people call attention to it. Mm-hmm. So she backpedals out of it. I don't know how genuine it is, but it's good enough. Good enough. You know, at least she recognizes, hey, you know what? I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a little bit of education, so the people that fear the PC police around every corner will flip out and be like, no, this is a terrible name, I hate them, right? But for most people, they go, oh, yeah, well, that does suck.
Yeah.
I guess she shouldn't have said that, because a lot of people can't get jobs because of it. And that's much more important than making fun of a funny name.
Exactly. And that's another thing. And you've already said this, but I want to reiterate. It's okay to make fun of people's names. We make fun of people's names all the time. I make fun of my own name. Cenk makes fun of his name. It is what it is. But it's one thing to make fun of a name. It's another thing to advocate for discriminating against someone because they have a certain name. And that's what she did when she's like, I wouldn't hire this person.